Lesson number 8 for Monday, February 20th. The blessing of work, ideally. Unless you are independently wealthy or the beneficiary of a trust fund that mommy and or daddy set up for you so that you would never have to work a day in your life. However, if you read many stories about these kids, the money, meant to be a blessing, often leads to tragedy for them as adults. You will sooner or later need to work for a living. The ideal, of course, is to find something that you are passionate about that can provide you with a good income, get trained in it, find a job doing it, and work at it for your working years. That's the ideal, of course. It doesn't always turn out that way. Let's read Genesis 2:15, Ecclesiastes 9:10, and 2 Thessalonians 3:8-10. Genesis 2:15 says, "The Lord God placed man in the Garden of Eden to tend and care for it." Ecclesiastes 9, verse 10 says, "Whatever you do, do well, for when you go to the grave, there will be no work of planning or knowledge or wisdom." And 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verses 8-10 says, "We never accepted food from anyone without paying for it. We worked hard day and night so that we would not be a burden to any of you. It wasn't that we didn't have the right to ask you to feed us, but we wanted to give you an example to follow. Even while we were with you, we gave you this rule: whoever does not work should not eat." What is the significance of the fact that even before the entrance of sin, Adam, and certainly Eve too, was given work? How might this explain why, as stated above, those who never had to work found their situation to be a curse? This work was not a punishment, obviously. It was designed for their good, that is, even in paradise, even in a world in which no sin, no death, and no suffering existed, God knew that human beings needed to work. From the book Our High Calling, page 223, it says, "And to Adam was given the work of caring for the garden. The Creator knew that Adam could not be happy without employment. The beauty of the garden delighted him, but this was not enough. He must have labor to call into exercise the wonderful organs of the body. Had happiness consisted in doing nothing, man, in his state of holy innocence, would have been left unemployed. But he who created man knew what would be for his happiness, and no sooner had he created him than he gave him his appointed work. The promise of future glory and the decree that man must toil for his daily bread came from the same throne." However, even after the fall, when, as with everything else, work had been tainted by sin, God said to Adam, Genesis 3:17, "Cursed is the ground for your sake. In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life." Notice, God cursed the ground for your sake, for the sake of Adam, with the idea that work would be something that he would need, especially as a fallen being. What is it about work that ideally should make it something that can be a blessing to us? From the book The Ministry of Healing, page 200, it says, "He who taught Adam and Eve in Eden how to tend the garden desires to instruct men today. There is wisdom for him who drives the plow and sows the seed. Before those who trust and obey him, God will open ways of advance. Let them move forward courageously, trusting in Him to supply their needs according to the riches of His goodness. He who fed the multitude with 5 loaves and 2 small fishes is able today to give us the fruit of our labor. He who said to the fishers of Galilee, "Let down your nets for a draught," and who, as they obeyed, filled their nets till they broke, desires His people to see in this an evidence of what He will do for them today. The God who in the wilderness gave the children of Israel manna from heaven still lives and reigns. He will guide His people and give skill and understanding in the work they are called to do. He will give wisdom to those who strive to do their duty conscientiously and intelligently. He who owns the world is rich in resources and will bless everyone who is seeking to bless others. We need to look heavenward in faith. We are not to be discouraged because of apparent failure, nor should we be disheartened by delay. We should work cheerfully, hopefully, gratefully, believing that the earth holds in her bosom rich treasures for the faithful worker to garner, stores richer than gold or silver. The mountains and hills are changing. The earth is waxing old like a garment, but the blessing of God, which spreads for His people a table in the wilderness, will never cease. Have a blessed day.